am the American alien.
Yeah.
You are alien, the American dream denied.
I realized, whoa, because before coming here,
That's the perfect expression to it. I'm sure all of us can relate. All of us who came here on H4, we land here with our dreams, and then
Yeah.
once we land, we're like, oh my god, ye kya ho gaya?
what hit us as high skilled immigrants, most people outside your own community or your own family see, oh, you guys have really good jobs, you drive swanky cars, you live in a good place.
Diamonds, huh? Sitting
Yeah,
here.
look at your zip codes, you travel so much. So people really don't know what it is to be a high skilled immigrant. 295 years of waiting time, and people dying in the green card backlog, kids being deported after they turn 21. Nobody had any clue about this, right?
Immigrants in United States of America are called aliens. Whether they're coming from a different country or a different planet, well, that's questionable as per United States government, of course, right? But those people who come here on a work visa, say an H-1B, right? And majority of them are from India. When they come here and they remain an alien for the entirety of their life, there are very few who are able to get the green. We're going to delve into all of that. Right now, I have an amazing person with me. Her name is Vidyut Latay. And not like cafe latte, but Vidyut Latay. I'm sure you get that all the time, Vidyut. The Americans call you like that.
All the time, yes.
Yeah. She's a fabulous independent filmmaker, okay? And she came here on a visa herself, went through the pain, and decided to do something about it. She made a movie, a documentary movie, Alien, the American Dream Denied. That's the name of the movie. It's available on Prime, on Apple, and many, many other platforms. PBS very recently decided to stream it on their platform. Amazing. This is such a feat. Congratulations, Vidyut.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me first, Neha. So excited to be here. I mean, what you do is phenomenal. I've always admired your work. I mean, you're such an inspiration to the entire diaspora, I would say.
Oh,
I would go to that extent. I really mean it. But thank you so much. I mean, I'm excited to just have a nice chat with you. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the film is streaming on actually public broadcasting member stations. So it's not streaming on their websites or, on the streaming platforms, but on television stations and all the television, 350 member stations. So it has just started its broadcast from November 2024. And, we are very gradually, penetrating to all the interior and really remotest areas of US. And I'm very excited about that, because that was the entire motive of making this film, that this film should reach the farthest of the places in the US and not just be restricted to the, the diaspora circles or metro cities. But yeah, so PBS has really given us that platform, and I cannot be more thankful to them. And yeah, of course, it's on Prime Video, on Tubi, on Hoopla, on Apple TV. So yeah, guys, please go check it out.
How did you come about making a movie?
So I come from a filmmaking and media background. I have more than 18 years of experience of working in the world of entertainment, having worked as an executive producer and producer director in the Indian film industry. I worked with Priya Tendulkar, Vijay Tendulkar. That was my, that was my training ground. That is where I started. Of course, I had my master's in communication studies and all from University of Pune. I have a statistics background actually before that, but I pivoted because I always wanted to be a storyteller. So coming from a Maharashtrian middle class family, my parents were absolutely supportive, encouraging, but they were study first, get your base really right, have some foundation to, as a fallback, just in case things don't work out. But thankfully, they did work out, because after getting my degree in statistics, and despite getting a gold medal in that, they were like, okay, you've done your master's, go pursue whatever you want. So I started my journey in Mumbai, and I always, enjoyed working with a lot of creative people. Love happened, and I came to the US because of marriage. I came here on H4 visa. And whoa, because before coming here,
that's the perfect expression to it. I'm sure all of us can relate. All of us who came here on H4, we land here with our dreams, and then we're like, oh my god, ye kya ho gaya?
What hit us? And before you can even grapple with what the specifics are, what are the limitations, and what are the do's, and then there are hardly any do's. There are mostly don'ts. Why did I make Alien? the word alien itself. Because when I landed at San Francisco International Airport, the very first thing, when you go through the immigration, there are two separate queues, right? So the first queue that I saw, the label was US citizens. I'm like, okay, fine, we are not US citizens. What's the other queue? It is labeled aliens. Aliens? Seriously, who are these aliens? It's like, that's
Exactly.
immigrants. That's immigrants. Very
I've
matter of
never
fact.
understood that word. Never.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the trigger because I did not like it. I said, come on, and predominantly English speaking country, you could have done better. You could have put non-US citizens, you could have put foreigners, whatever. Why
Engage just by
aliens?
using that word alien, which is why I am the American alien.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
alien, the American dream denied.
American Dream. Yeah. And so that was the actual trigger. And then I started working on a film about H4. I went back to school. But then, I realized that this immigration saga, the broken immigration system is like a magnum opus. If you start, peeling the layers, things just, it's like a Pandora's box. So I thought I'll wait for some time and then make a film. So despite started working immediately in 2006 after coming to the US, I stopped that project, went ahead and made another project about deaf people in India and came back to this project actually in 2017 because the film stayed, the subject, the whole meaning of making this film stayed with me. And in fact, it was my husband who suggested that, hey, you know what? You should title your film Alien. I'm like, that's a good title.
In fact, now USCIS, there was a change brought in during Biden administration.
Yeah.
They changed the word alien to non-US citizens or immigrants or, similar words of that.
Right. But now with the new administration, I just saw the news few days back and people can go and, Google it,
Yeah.
that the word alien is officially back. Like you will be called
Become
alien.
more relevant now. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So we are like back to alien. Yeah.
While making this film, what was that
Yeah.
one defining moment जिसमें मजा आ रहा था?
Yeah, what was really, I would say, gratifying and some of the, I would say, something that gave me the confidence that
Yeah.
I took the right step is when people pour their hearts out. Because you know what? There was absolutely no platform, no opportunity for them to really freely speak about what it is to be a high skilled immigrant, right? And most people outside your own community or your own family see, oh, you guys have really good jobs. You drive swanky
Oh,
cars. You live in a good
minting
place.
diamonds, huh? Sitting
Yeah,
here.
look at your zip codes. You travel so much. So people really don't know what it is to be a high skilled immigrant. And agreed, when it's like, they were always being compared with illegal and undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
As an artist, as a filmmaker, as a humanist, I do feel every story of suffering needs its due diligence and attention. So, I'm not somebody who is going to say that, you shouldn't be comparing stories like, oh, just because high skilled immigrants, they have good salaries and they, live good lives in terms of getting, all roti kapda makan, that doesn't mean unka suffering kam hai, that their suffering should be
Good
diminished.
salaries, good
Right?
zip codes, good school district,
Yeah.
right? वो सब
Yeah.
अच्छी गाड़ियाँ, अच्छा vacation, but next zero rights. Let's just say that.
Correct. Yeah. And there's so much of stifling, right?
Yeah.
There's so much of, they're like shackled, because
Yeah.
again, there is lot of humiliation, lot of, in a way, the way they are treated. Not all companies are good in treating immigrants, right? They do take advantage of the fact that
Fine.
your petition is not with the individual, it is with the
I was
company.
just gonna bring that point
Yeah.
out. Yeah, because I
There are
think
good.
for our audience, we should mention this. So when you're on an H1 visa or an L visa, right? You don't own the petition. Your employer needs you. They file a petition on your behalf. That petition gets picked by US lottery. Then the whole thing of Department of Labor and their checks and balances in place that happens, which is when you are brought in to United States as a guest worker. Okay.
Right.
So I think majority of the narrative that goes on in mainstream America of this guest worker kind of is misplaced.
The per country cap, not
Oh.
to mention, right? See, this is, I mean, while making the film and now that, I have, it's almost like more than 7 years actively I have been working on this project. Of course, before that I was on a visa, I have lived through the life, both my husband and I have lived through the life of a high skilled immigrant, and typical family, at the coffee table during lunch, that's the topic you have, you meet for potluck, you discuss about each other's renewals and, who is getting stuck, who is not able to go back and visit their parents, ailing parents, or maybe happy occasions, funerals, whatever. So this is something we live by, it's our part and parcel of our lifestyle as a high skilled immigrant. So I've gone through that myself, both my husband and I. But what I've realized is that the biggest gratification is that, now these stories of high skilled immigrants, they have an opportunity to penetrate the mainstream public discourse.
Yeah.
And that was, I would say, I mean, you asked me that, what was one of the, happiest things, or, what was the wow moment for me
Yeah.
during the making of this film, is that because whoever watches this film, Neha, outside of our community, they come and not just, saying it in a flattering way, but they actually come and say it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
We had no idea. And I don't blame them, right? Because what has happened in the public discourse, in the mainstream, in the commercial news and all, how many times do you really see high skilled immigrant story?
I differ a little bit here, but Vidyut, I understand that you've done amazing work, but I think in the last 10 years, there
Yeah.
actually has been a lot of word that has come out about green card
Yeah.
backlog, right? So it's not that
Right.
people don't know about it. I feel like people don't want to, or they probably just want to remain ignorant. Because the other narrative that immigrants
Yeah.
are here to take away your jobs kind of
Yeah. I mean, that
takes
is
over, right? And that is
right.
something that gets fed on to media, onto mainstream American mindset over and over
Yeah.
again.
Because that's juicy, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and again, that is actually affecting a larger population, right? When
yeah,
you talk about, okay, Indians or immigrants are taking away American jobs, so the larger American population is getting affected by that. So obviously those stories will be picked up.
right.
But my whole pursuit is that, the high skilled immigrants who are highly contributing, law
Yeah,
abiding,
exactly.
I mean, totally. I mean, they are here to contribute. Like, you talk to every immigrant in this in the film, that I have spoken to,
Yeah,
5 families, and
yeah.
apart from that, also every immigrant resonates the same sentiment that, hey, we want to work here, and we want to do so much good for this country.
A few years ago, I was reading this report which said that H-1B visa holders by themselves, just the H-1B visa holders by themselves, create or contribute to US economy upwards of $56 billion
Yeah,
every year. This is not a
absolutely.
small number. Okay.
Yeah,
We are literally treated as cash cows, if you come to think about it, right? Vidyut,
yeah,
I'm sure you would agree with me on that, right?
yeah,
H-1B visa holders pay into the US tax system, US social security. In fact, the students who come here on student visa, international students who come here on student visa, if they were not here in the way they are, okay,
yeah,
the cost of education would go up for US citizens.
yeah.
And we can circle back to what happened during the pandemic when the colleges had to shut down and international students had to go back. What
Right.
happened? Many universities shut down.
Yeah,
They couldn't afford. I mean, I am very thankful that I live in this country and I've made this
yeah.
country our home. Very thankful for all the opportunities. But I seriously feel there needs to be an overhaul of the immigration system, which is what I've been advocating through my organization, Skilled Immigrants in America, for the
Hmm.
longest time now, right?
Yeah,
But Vidyut, when you made this movie and you showed
yeah.
it in different situations to different people, to mainstream America,
Mm-hmm.
they say that they never knew about this issue.
Yeah.
What are they ready to do about it? Are they ready to come on board with you and reach out to people like me and come together and ask their congressmen, hey, why is this happening? Why are you not bringing about a change? These are our neighbors,
Yeah.
these are our friends. So what is the kind of narrative that you hear?
Yeah, that's the objective. And I'm really hoping that, that would be the North Star, for this film. That why did I make this film is to actually create that ground level awareness. Because what's happening, like where I live right now, we call it like a melting hub of
Yeah.
Connecticut. Literally, like I'm surrounded by immigrants from Greece, from Korea, from Britain,
Yeah.
and we are from India. So it's really like, literally within a radius of like less than a mile, we are like from different countries. It's
Right.
mind boggling. However, and they've been our neighbors for like so many years now, but they had absolutely no idea on, like up to 195 years of, waiting time, and people dying in the green card backlog, kids being deported after they turn 21. Nobody had any clue about this, right? News channels, which are commercial news networks here. What are the stories that are whatever creates good visual it's like we say, what is good cinema, right?
Right.
Something that is absolutely stunning, or creates that sensation for for people to watch is like, somebody crossing the border, or
Yeah.
just swimming oceans to come to this country, or coming through illegal ways. I
Yeah.
mean, that is something, visually, it kind of creates a lot of drama. I mean, come to think of it, I mean, now I'm talking from a media point of view.
Yeah.
That creates more sensation, creates
100%.
more talking point. And then, of course, people, and of course, not to mention, there are lots and lots of people who are fighting for those issues, right? For DACA, for,
Yeah.
for kids of illegal, undocumented
Yes.
parents and all that. But there are lots more people, advocating for that. Even in the Congress, there are a
Yeah.
lot of voices who are fighting for that. But
Yeah.
for high skilled immigrants, how many people are standing? There are literally a handful of people like you and,
Yeah.
some few others who are really fighting for the entire diaspora, who is stuck, in a green card backlog. So coming back to that, what my basic objective is, it's very simple. Of course, it's too deep and too almost like, really a major undertaking, I would say, is that this issue of high skilled immigration, especially, the per country cap, which affects some of the countries like, Indian immigrants, Chinese immigrants, for people to really get awareness about this. So that, and see, my film is not going to solve or not going to give them like an encyclopedia all the
Right.
information. No. But even if after watching the film they say, what the heck is this, let me go back on Google. Yeah, if they even do that, that will be the first achievement.
Yeah.
Secondly, when, a common American, people who day in and day out work with techies, who go to the doctors, who go to those physiotherapists, who watch these, streaming platforms, who are the people working in the back end, they are immigrants, they are probably developers, engineers, they have come from other countries, and not only from India, maybe they have come from Ukraine, Russia, from, all parts of world. If they understand, gosh, this is what is happening to high skilled immigrants that I interact with directly, indirectly, day in and day out,
Yeah.
the expectation is that they will go to town halls and then ask those questions to congressmen and senators, of their territory, of their state, that why are these people who are highly contributing, only wanting to do good for the country, being treated like that? And see, the biggest the biggest irony here, Neha, is we are actually, the film, if you watch the film, we are talking about a cohort of people who they are already in the US.
True.
They have already been approved for green card. It's just that now they are waiting, and the kind of anxiety and uncertainty and the topsy-turvy life that they have to live. So that is the biggest irony, that we are not even talking about people who are wanting and desperate to come to the US. And then, of course, every country has a sovereign right to decide how many people they want to take in, and all sorts of things. But here, okay, USA has already given them a green signal. Okay, you are eligible to get a green card. They have been approved for a green card, but now, sorry, we don't have a visa for you because your country is in the backlog. That's just not fair. So we are just fighting for fairness and
Sad
equality.
is this? How sad is this that we're living
Absolutely. It's
in
very grim.
we're living not in the 18th century, not in the 19th century. We are in
Yeah.
2025 right now,
Yeah.
February of 2025 as we speak today.
Yeah.
And the US laws are still based on the country of your birth,
Yes.
not because of your skills, not
And
because
you know what?
of the table.
And that happens only at the green card stage. It doesn't happen
Exactly.
at
Not
the
before
work
that.
permit visa or international student visa. I would say, you know what? Okay, if you want to implement that, okay, fine, you have every right. It's your independent country. Why not do it at the level when, people are applying for
The
visas?
money
Because
will
see,
not
money, right?
come. That's
Then there are
simple.
corporations and,
Yes.
vested interest. Yeah,
How are they going to make money out of it? It's as simple as
that's
that,
the
right?
thing. Yeah.
See, I honestly feel that your
Yeah.
film should actually be shown in India and
Yes, that's true.
China, much more than it is shown here. They don't
Yeah.
see the cost. They don't see how hard it is to live each day without any kind of emotional support, most days even
Yeah.
without monetary support, and having
Hmm.
next to zero rights. Think about it. What rights do H4 visa holders have without the H4 EAD? If H4 EAD were to go away today, which is a
Yeah.
reality in Trump's era, okay, it
Yeah.
can
It
go
could be
away
revoked anytime. Yeah.
anytime. What's going to happen to all these women who are here, who are
Yeah.
already here? There's a huge talent pool, and it's not even, it's a women's rights issue. It's a human rights issue at that core, right?
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about
Absolutely.
it. So I really
Right.
feel that your film, goes, makes waves, makes rounds, and reaches to the audience also in India and China.
I agree. I mean, Definitely agree, because see, the time has come that people need to make informed decision.
Yeah.
This whole thing that, oh, once you go there, it's so rosy and I can just, something will work out. Hope should not be your plan. So that is again the message that I want to give through this film, is that, guys, there is a problem. It's a broken immigration system, and it's not me as a filmmaker or as an immigrant saying that. Both the parties, Republican as well as Democrats, during their campaigning also, they all have spoken these words. Literally everybody says it's a broken immigration system. So be aware of what you're getting in. Have that informed decision that, okay, if I go on H1B, if I go on H4, and now you have a film, you have these stories, to see. So educate yourself, don't try to, just remain in that bubble that, okay, just because my friend went there 20 years back, but maybe that friend is still languishing in green card, who is not going to open up and tell you about that, right?
whole
People
narrative
don't.
of उसके साथ हुआ doesn't mean कि मेरे साथ भी होगा. अरे तुम्हारे साथ
Yes.
होगा, because that is the whole immigration system.
And see, that is another thing, right? There is a lot of stigma, there's a lot of taboo, there's a lot of shame in talking about your immigration issues back
Yeah,
home. Right?
exactly.
How many of us
Back
really,
home, even here between us, we don't
between
talk.
us, we don't speak about it, because it's almost like a mask that we have
Yeah.
put on our faces, and we say, no, everything is fine. We kind of normalize these issues. We shouldn't be. We should be amplifying it. We should be coming out, talking about it, and everybody has a creative way of expressing it. Like you've done such a phenomenal job advocating, for H4 visas, for H4 EAD, through your podcast, through your writings. You come out and talk about it. I made a film about it, right? Somebody could write about it. Somebody could create a poem about it. Why not?
Done that.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we really want people, that's why, again, see, when you have more expressions like this, it gets into the mainstream, right? Because you cannot just have one film, cannot do anything. We've had earlier films, a couple of films that have been made. But again, we need more films, we need more articles, we need more people to talk about it, what it is exactly. And again, people do, I understand, from the other point of view, that they are scared, right? You know how it is, Neha. Like when you come here, it's not really easy to even talk to your immediate friend about what visa issues, because you're always like, I don't know, is it even
Can't
safe?
even speak to your own spouse because they are going
Exactly.
through a whole
Their
situation
own.
of their own.
Yeah.
Right?
So
So,
nobody's comfortable.
yeah.
That's why I really, give credit to all the people in the film. I mean, if you watch the film, it's like they've poured their hearts out, really, like, just gone all out in expressing the real emotion of what it is to be a high skilled immigrant. And yeah, and it is generating empathy. I can see that, people, when they watch it, they get it. Like, this is just so absurd. Like I remember when I had my first screening in Kansas, we were in front of, that was the very first screening, and there were like 125 to 130 people in the audience, and predominantly none of them were Indians. Like hardly I could see 4 5 faces, who were like Indian immigrants, predominantly all white people. And after the film, there was like a pin drop silence. I said, did you guys feel whatever you saw was completely absurd? And they were like, yeah. I said, great. That's what I want you to understand. This is so absurd. This is so nonsensical. It should not even happen, right? It's not common sense.
I think that's a feedback I have gotten every single time I've spoken to any non-Indian person and
Yeah.
told them about the situation. I live in a predominantly white neighborhood, and when I've spoken to my neighbors about it, there have been people who have cried literally.
Yeah.
They've hugged me and they've like, Neha, how can you live like this? But I'm like, okay, this was a choice I made and I'm living by it. Sadly, that's the choice hundreds and thousands of us make to be in this country. But I think what's important to know is at what cost? What is it
Yeah.
that you are going to do? Make an informed decision. So watch
Correct.
Vidyut's film. It's available on Amazon
Prime Video. It's
Prime.
available on Prime Video, Tubi, Hoopla, Apple TV, on Binge Network, and then Roku, Google Play. Yeah,
Fabulous.
all. I mean, and go to
More
Alien
power,
document. Thank
more
you so
power to
much.
you, Vidyut. And I'll be
Thank
putting
you.
all the
Yeah,
information about her in the description box so that if
yeah,
you need to reach out to Vidyut or want to know how to access her film, you
yeah,
can. Let's
absolutely.
make more informed choices for people like us, for aliens like us, chose to live in United States of America and call
Yeah.
it home. Thank
And
you so
thank you so
much.
much, Neha. I mean, this platform that you've offered, for us to talk about the film really means a lot. So thank you to you and to all your viewers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.